It's Saturday, August 11th of 2018. Let's go to the movies. It's Guy's Daily Drive. Hello, everyone. As I said, it is Saturday, August 11th. Nobody cares. It's 2018. Thank God we're almost out of this year. This has been such a terrible year. So many different ways. I just finished taking Guy to work. And right as I was getting ready to drop him off, we started talking about movies. And Sony Studios in particular, and how the climate has become so charged that you can't even criticize a bad movie, a truly bad movie, without being accused of some kind of bias. And the movie in particular that we started off talking about was the Ghostbusters movie that came out last year. Let's see, it was McCarthy, and I can't remember all the people that were in it. And before it came out, the big push from the studio was, hey, it's Ghostbusters, but this time it's with women. And, you know, number one, was anybody really calling for a remake or a do-over of the Ghostbusters movies? I don't think so. Now, you know, the first one was great. First Ghostbusters movie, fantastic. Second one had its moments. It was okay. But the one they just came out with was just awful. And it wasn't the fault of the people that actually were in the movie. This is a case where they couldn't make up their minds what they really wanted to do with this property. They spent a lot of time in the very beginning of the movie just kind of, trying to establish the characters. And it almost seems like they were wanting to do an homage. I'm sorry if I keep looking away. I'm doing this driving thing. An homage to the original Ghostbusters movie, and to kind of shoehorn the characters in the new movie to make them kind of like the characters in the old movie. And I have a feeling that the script was probably really, really modified from the time that it was approved to what was actually shot. Because as you look at this movie, and I'm not recommending that you go see it, because it is really awful. They spend a lot of time trying to shoehorn these women into similar roles that the original movie had. And I get the feeling that early on in the shooting of the movie, they realized that it wasn't going to work. So they ended up kind of changing things up, trying to move the characters away from that. But no matter what they did, it just didn't play off like a very good movie. It was poorly written. The way the women acted in it was fine, but they had to deal with just a terrible script. And the story didn't really make a whole lot of sense. It was just a bad movie. And the problem with a movie like this, I mean, besides the fact that it's bad, these days, if you criticize it, you in turn are accused of, well, you don't like it because it's Ghostbusters with women, that it's not the characters that you had before where it was all men. It's like, no. That has absolutely nothing to do with why I don't like this movie. I don't like this movie because it's a bad movie. You want to remake Ghostbusters, fine. You want to remake Ghostbusters with women characters, with Indian characters, Native American characters, Pakistani characters, African characters. It doesn't matter. Make them with whoever you want. But at least have a good story. And you don't it doesn't have to be, 3 white characters and 1 black character, because that's what it was in the original. It can be anything you want it to be. It doesn't even have to be 4 characters. It could be 6 characters or 2 characters or whatever. But just don't make it bad. Film your movie and have a good script when you start. Don't try to make major changes to it halfway through, because it doesn't work. It never works. Time and time again, we get these big budget movies that halfway through shooting them, they realize just how bad it is. And there could be any number of reasons why a movie doesn't work or why a movie is bad. It doesn't necessarily mean the writing is bad. It doesn't mean the actors are bad. It doesn't mean the direction is bad. It doesn't mean that the backdrop or the story is bad. It can be anything where it just doesn't work. And instead of either A, doggedly continuing on with a script and a story that doesn't work, or B, making big changes to the script so that, making big changes to the script so that you can try to salvage it, that typically also doesn't work. Part of it, I think, actually most of it is the studio's fault. The studios should be there to supply the money, the materials, the sets, the sound stages, the logistics, all of that stuff. Once a studio has put a green light on a movie, they should stay out of it. They shouldn't visit the set. They shouldn't have anything to do with the making of this movie. You chose directors. You let the directors, directors for a movie should be like a coach of a football team, for lack of a better explanation. And as coach, he's the one that's telling the principals, okay, you need to do this, this, and this, and this. And we're going to shoot this, and we're going to do that, and it's going to go to here, and blah, 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 blah. Meanwhile, you have a producer. The producer is like the general manager. He's the one that gets the director. He's the one that gets the actors. He's the one that should have some say into script approval, things like that. But everybody else at the studios should just back the hell off, and for better or worse, let them shoot the movie. Let them cut the movie, let them edit the movie, and then release it as it is. We also talked about movies that at the time we thought were really, really good, but then after watching it again later, it just doesn't hold up. So many of the romantic comedies don't hold up. so many of the movies that we kind of thought were really funny at the time, for the most part, don't hold up. And the two that we talked about, there was Something About Mary, which had some absolutely hysterical scenes in it. But for the most part, it kind of drags. And another one was Tropic Thunder. I honestly, Tropic Thunder wasn't made all that long ago, but you could not make that movie today without people losing their minds. Robert Downey Jr. in blackface, and not only in blackface, which is bad enough, playing a black character, which is bad, which is also horrible, and then playing that character in real life like he is also black. People would just lose their minds over this today. And if the movie was actually super, super good and super funny all the way through, even a movie that, has these obvious flaws, you could still kind of look at it and say, okay, well, different times, blah, 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 blah. It's still a good movie. Unfortunately, it's not a good movie. Again, there are parts of it that are just hysterical because it was supposed to be a comedy. But a lot of it just drags. So, if you have any examples of movies that were well received and just beloved and all the rest of that you thought was really, really great, and now on a rewatch some number of years later it doesn't hold up, let me know. I'd be curious to see what your choices were. If you'd like to get a hold of me, and this is how you could do it, would be guy@mymac.com. You can also get a hold of me via the Twitters, where my name there is Mac Parrot. You can find me on Wednesday nights. I just recorded a new Mac to the Future with David Ginsburg. I did that last weekend. Warren should be back. Well, I'm guessing next week after that. And, of course, the MyMac.com podcast that I do with Gazmaz each and every week for the MyMac.com podcast, as I just said. So anyway, thanks for watching and or listening, because you can also get this over in the iTunes via Guys. Just type in your search field, Guys Daily Drive. It'll come up. Leave comments, give it a rating. I don't have any yet. I could use some. And I think that's going to about do it. So thanks for watching and or listening, and I will see you next time on Guys Daily Drive.